Hey everyone, and welcome to Quick Review. Today I'm going to be looking at Interstellar Transport Company, which is pretty much a simulation game that has you running and optimizing the routes and systems of an interstellar transport company. Well, you're not an interstellar transport company off the bat. That's something you work towards as you play the game. But you get the point. Before I dive into this, I want to say that I did receive a review copy of the full version of this game from the developers. Since this is the first review I've done with a review copy, I'm going to talk about my opinions on that at the end of this video. So if you care about how I tackle potential bias in filtering out games I actually look at, stick around till the end of the video. Also, fair warning, this review may not be as quick, since I have a bit more to say than usual. So with that out of the way, let's dive into it. Interstellar Transport Company has been in early access for a while, and it's finally done away with that tag to enter the world of full-fledged games. I'm only going to talk about the state of the game now, and not what it was or has been. Off the bat, you're pretty much just thrown straight into the game. On your first playthrough, you'll have tooltips pop up that give you a general idea of what to click on and what you can do. The most important part being how to set up trade routes and purchase ships for transportation. This is probably the single thing you'll be doing the most in this game, setting up and optimizing trade routes. Initially, you'll probably be looking at setting up trade routes that go directly from one planet to another planet, carrying single or multiple types of cargo. When you purchase a ship, you also have to select which kind of cargo it hauls across the solar system, and you'll generally do this based on what resources planets have versus which resources other planets need. As needs change, you can retrofit your cargo bays to keep yourself up to date with rising demands for certain products. This all sounds simple enough, and it is. Sort of. When I played through this game, I had to restart the game many times to try to figure out what the best approach to the beginning of the game was, because honestly, I found the first hour or so to be the hardest part of the game, to optimize and play it correctly. You're basically given two types of ships initially. One is reusable, and one is a one-way, one-time use rocket. When you realize that one-time use rockets are great for delivering stuff far away, and the reusable rockets are better for closer routes, the game gets a little bit easier. But I ran through a lot of trial and error initially to figure out how to manage these ships. There was a lot of micromanagement as planets constantly changed their demands, and the fact that you're not the only company in the solar system means that while you may plan to deliver a certain number of resources somewhere, someone else may decide to do the same exact thing, creating a surplus and removing the profit from your potential deliveries. At the start, you have to pay a lot of attention, and work hard to make sure you're doing everything right. There's also research. You can set up research stations on fully developed planets, and so long as they're operational, will provide you with daily research points. These points can be used to unlock new ships, improve movement speed of your ships, and, most importantly, you'll eventually be able to research the ability to go interstellar and the ability to freely colonize other planets. I'm just going to step back for a second. While you're playing the game, colonization ships will regularly head off to other planets. When they reach those planets, you'll be able to start trading with those planets. At first, this is all automated, and I believe largely run unscripted events. However, once you research colonization, that all goes out the window, and you can start managing everything yourself. From my playthroughs, I basically broke the game down into 4 phases. Early game, local optimization, interstellar expansion, and interstellar optimization. In the early game, you'll probably be doing the most micromanaging, setting up initial trade routes to optimize profits. Things will rapidly change and you will have a lot to do. Local optimization happens after you've started making some money and are researching more and more technology. At this point, a lot of the micromanagement disappears in favor of running a few larger ships or using drone routes, if you've researched it, and you should research drones. Interstellar expansion is when you gain the ability to go interstellar. You'll be setting up a few colonies elsewhere, and this is pretty straightforward. Interstellar optimization happens once you've finished your research trees, have a few interstellar colonies, and want to start making some mad money. Micromanagement comes back into play here, but not to the same degree as the early game. Overall, I think this game is hands down one of the most addicting optimization experiences I've had in a while. However, I do have a few problems with the game as well. In fact, there are a lot of problems. Nothing that's quite a game-crashing bug, but maybe things that should have been polished before leaving early access. First of all, zooming in and out of planets. You can click on a planet to zoom in and manage it. If you want to leave that planet, right-click or press escape and you're taken up to the previous level. Except, sometimes it will just zoom you straight out to the interstellar map. This happens because if you use the scroll wheel to zoom out a little too much while on a planet, the game essentially throws you back a level automatically. It sounds complicated, but it happened to me a lot, and it was always a little frustrating to have to click back into the solar system I actually cared about. When the game progresses and more is going on, there are some immense slowdowns. Not in general gameplay, but if you open the financial report tab late into the game, at least in my experience, it pretty much freezes the game. Late in the game, if you want to look at your financial reports, pause the game first, just pause it. Generally, I'd say this is an optimization bug where there's just so many calculations and steps going on. Sometimes lines get jittery on planets that are further away from the center of a solar system. And finally, less of a bug but more of a general complaint, you can only speed the game up 4 times. For the most part, this is fine. However, in the early game when I'm waiting for colonies to come into existence and my trade routes are realistically not going to change, I really think the game should go faster. I found myself just sitting around waiting a lot in the early game. Anyways, that's Interstellar Transport Company. This is another game that I'm a little torn on. In its current state, there are a lot of minor problems. I'd say they're definitely all minor problems though, but you do notice them. You notice the lack of polish around certain aspects of the game. At the same time, I think this might have been the single most addicting optimization game I have ever played. Period. Once I figured out what I was doing and how to do it anyways, I just could not put the game down. But there's a bit of a problem too. It took me a lot longer than it takes me with most games to figure out what I was actually doing. This is a daunting game to get into. With that said, my goal has always been to help people find games they want to play, or help people avoid games that suck. Some people have asked me to start rating games, and I'm not a huge fan of numerical ratings. I'm going to be working on a system to help viewers find games they want to play based on other games they love. It'll be more of a King of the Hill rating system by genre, so keep an eye out. Finally, when it comes to review copies, I'm never going to spam this channel with a million games I don't care about. If I receive a copy of a game, I also don't feel any more inclined to be positive. If a game sucks, it sucks. I'm never going to stop being critical. Having review copies just makes it easier for me to schedule and plan out my videos, so I don't feel like I'm rushing out reviews to compete with people that do get games weeks before me. And don't forget, this is just my opinion. If you disagree, feel like I left something out, or just want to suggest something else for me to review, leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe so you can see what other games I'm looking at. I'll also be releasing some non-review gaming related content in the coming weeks. You don't want to miss it. Otherwise, thanks for watching.